Alright, this is just We the People News. Not attorney, not giving legal advice. Educational purposes only. Okay? And never look just straight forward. Always look around you. Be able to protect yourself by any means necessary. Use that Second Amendment. Arm yourself with knowledge. Okay? So this video is coming from, I'm going to spell it out. Capital HIDDEN, capital I, capital Q. Okay? Some property taxes are illegal. I know this. Some of you guys should know this, but it is what it is. But I'm going towards the end of this mainly to talk about the monkey experiment that they use against the people today and have been for centuries. All right. Let's just go with the 3%ers of the revolution. That's all it took, 3 to 5% of the people fighting the redcoats. Everybody else just stood to the side and said, who wins? I'll just follow them. Well, they was little monkeys, okay? As well, we're going to go watch, all right, the last metrics, okay? So, the metrics is the government. Then you got the, I can't even remember his name, but they're the officers, and then you got the people kind of helps. Geez, I can't even think of his name either. Oh, you guys know what I'm talking about. I'm tired and exhausted. I don't even know what I'm doing this right now, but I thought it was important enough. But when you watch the Matrix, Neo is actually free thinking, one of the people, and one of the 3% non-monkey. Now, if you watch the movie, all right, spoiler alert, if you haven't watched the movie, in part of the movie, you'll see all these people falling off the buildings trying to get to Neo. Well, that's the people. That's 95% of the people in this country. All right? They attack the 3%. Okay? Good or bad, they attack them, right? You see cop watching all the time, right? Preachers, corporations saying, get off the porch, why are you filming, and this, that, here, and there, right? There are the monkeys. They call the cops and come and deal with you. Why? Because they're the monkeys. They thought they had particular privileges, okay? And I just think that we need to get out of this monkeying training that we've been through, okay? You're not even allowed to argue in school or challenge the teacher, which I did, and I told the story in my past video, that there's a separation for me as a youngster between pickup and trucks. Trucks was 18-wheelers to me, okay? And, but there was no truck. I had to draw lines of a particular name into the category of the picture it was showing. And when I seen truck on there, well, there was no truck. There was a picture of a pickup. That was a pickup. We call it trucks today, but that's not the original intent of a pickup. Okay? You had to look up the original definition of pickup. All right. I digress on that. Anywho, I had to go through the definition to show the teacher and prove the teacher was incorrect. And we're not technically allowed to even do that, but it was such an arguable case that she actually had to give me 100% on the grade because I challenged her authority. All right, let's go.
And that's always, it's really angered me, to tell you the truth.
Right.
And it should. And because I think that that's a catastrophe that we're going to be coming up on soon. because I see a whole generation that's not going to be able to pay property taxes as they retire. Well, they're not even going to be able to retire. And I don't know, it seems to me there's going to be a huge, I don't know how to put it, just a huge influx of a generation that won't be able to continue this. And then what happens?
That's what's being counted on. That everything becomes property of the state. That's communism right there. When it all belongs to the state and the state has absolute rule and control over it, that's communism. And that's exactly where
You're right.
we've been headed for decades.
Right.
It's the whole reason for the McCarthy era politics. It goes into the bar associations. McCarthy was after the bar associations in America because he designated them in a full report as communist organizations. And he was right. Everything that the legal profession is foisting on us through court opinions, the laws they're writing, and everything else is a complete setup for socialism leading into straight communism. The state owns and controls it all. In the hands of a very few will reside all the power, and the people will be left out in the cold once again. We're turning ourselves into the new Russia.
You know, it's funny. My dad told me 40 years ago, when I was a young teenager, he used to always tell me that the way the system is designed, that the United States eventually would be a socialist country. It has no other direction to go. And I used to sit there and think. It used to always make me think, I wonder why he's saying that. And he used to kind of explain it to me, but I never quite grasped it. But I'm finding out he's right.
Well,
and he used to say there's no other way for it to go.
I would argue that it's going to shoot straight past socialist and go straight to communist. Because
what's the exact difference in those two?
The socialist
they're
concept
in a
is
way,
the
right?
idea that the people have mutual ownership of everything and therefore mutual control of everything. Okay.
Which isn't the way it works in practice.
No, and it's never worked that way. It works in practice the exact same way communism does, except there's this illusion of control that the people are allowed to have.
They're going to preach socialism to get you to fall for it, but you're going to step right over that into communism.
There is no way around it.
What you're saying.
Because even at the heart of socialism is a small group of people with their hands in everything that control everything else that's going on. And they're the only ones with any real and true power. Because in the socialist society and the communist society, the people have no means to enforce.
I could be wrong. All right, just my opinion. But the Reserve, right? It's a private bank. And they did say in, you guys know what book that was, about all the banksters on the island. They said they was going to buy the president off. They're going to buy the Congress off, and they're going to buy all the judges off. They said they was going to do it. And as one of the pro se's and all these other pro se's out there, doing the process correctly, they still are losing. Not because they wasn't doing it right, it's because they was doing it right. Just saying. If you don't believe me, ask them. I have first-hand knowledge of it.
A rule.
The easiest way you can find out if the courts are corrupt, if you challenge jurisdiction of the court, and they won't give you an answer. Right then and there, you know that magistrate or judge is absolutely corrupt. Because the Supreme Court has ordered them to tell you once jurisdiction is challenged. Alright? And if they don't tell you, that tells you all the answers you need to know.
They will be disarmed. That's a mandatory plank of socialism.
Oh, by the way, attorneys are going to call you sovereign citizens. And then the exact same judges are going to call you sovereign citizens. To actually tell them to follow the law. Or their laws.
Communism. They have to take the guns.
Take the guns.
That's why gun control is such a hot agenda. They cannot implement all of those communist planks into our society till we don't have guns. That's the only way they can get it. And as long as we're armed, that won't happen. It's the entire reason Japan swore off ever invading the U.S. Their emperor said straight up front, I will never invade the United States. There will be a gun behind every blade of grass. And that is why. If they can't get the guns, they can't push us over that brink. And that's why gun control is such a hot agenda for them right now.
Well, it's also why the educational system has to dumb down the population.
It has dumbed down the population.
It's done that, a good job of that already.
Flat Earth. There you go. Enough said on dumbing down the population.
Well, the idea is if it's not only restricting information, facts, how things were created, why the country was formed the way it was formed, but also to steer people away from critical thinking, right?
Yes,
so
absolutely.
that they don't even have the curiosity.
Yes, and there is an actual research study that was done on a subject just.
And here we go. And this is what I'm talking about. How the people became monkeys.
Like that. And the research subject is very straightforward. It's a group of monkeys in a cage with a ladder and a banana tied over the top of the ladder. And the way they configure this situation is that anytime a monkey tries to climb the ladder to get the banana, they're hit with ice cold water out of a high pressure hose. Okay? And then what they'll do is they'll gradually replace one of the monkeys with a new one, and the new one will attempt to get the banana. And they'll repeat this process. Pretty soon, all the monkeys that are getting blasted with the cold water start to beat the one that climbs the ladder. Okay? They assume the role of the person with the hose to keep the monkey from climbing the ladder so they don't get hosed.
All right. And so you get these cop watchers, right? And they start talking crap about these cop watchers or auditors, right? But that's exactly what they're doing. The monkeys is going to beat the crap out of the people that's standing on their rights. All right? The monkeys are just fine and dandy, not having any say and letting everybody control them.
So now you have juries they pick that hammer the monkey that wants to climb the ladder.
Bingo.
Wow.
Not based on law, but because they are following that
Yes,
rule.
there is
So you're going to follow that rule.
There is an
even
actual
if it's not a law.
real-life experiment with those monkeys
Wow.
setting up exactly that
Wow.
situation.
Wow.
And that experiment is the modeling of
I'm going to try
American
that on my
society.
kids and the neighbor's kids.
There you go. It works at home.
And it goes into great elaborate detail over the different ways they configured this. But eventually, what it comes down to at the end of the experiment is that all of the monkeys that are in there eventually are replaced. So no original monkey that's in this cage has ever been hit by the cold water. But they all know don't climb the ladder. They don't know why. They know there's a banana up there, but they know don't climb the ladder.
Do they form a religion and start praying to the banana?
Didn't get quite into that stage, but it.
So sit and think about it. Yeah. You don't know why the officer is beating up a guy. But you do know not to interfere with the officer beating up an innocent guy. But you don't know why you cannot interfere. Right? I'm just saying. Some of these things is ridiculous. How government and the schools and all of them really dumbed us down. And we let them. More than anything else, we let our own selves down. And I was one of them, past tense. I may not be out there doing on the front lines as James Freeman is, but I am doing something to combat what the issue is today. Diesel We the People News. Bye, y'all.